Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Naya. Today's video is going to be about codependency. Don't want to spend a lot of time talking because this video probably gonna be a little lengthy, like they always are. But I'm trying to kind of like angle my head so this fucking ring light camera don't mess with the reflection in my glasses. But I'm gonna do my best. It is what it is. So let's hop right into it, y'all. So we're gonna start off with what is codependency. I'm probably gonna put like a picture in here of where I got it from because I be getting my information from trusted, credited sources. Y'all missed y'all journalism class in school and it shows. So make sure you are researching, even fact check me, please. I don't want y'all to ever like just take what I'm saying like, okay, whatever Naya says, that's Bible. No. Always do your own research. So now that we know that, I'm gonna start with my codependency that came up in my relationships a lot. So like always, I'm looking at my notes, y'all. So I know for me, one of the biggest things, I give too much of myself in relationships. Like I'm so quick to try to fix a broken motherfucker so fast just because like it's the way that I show my love, but that's not real love if somebody isn't pouring back into me. People can see that and they like, okay, she does this, like she's very giving. So now I'm gonna take and take and take from her and keep draining her fucking energy by causing her so much stress, so much worry and anxiety while I'm gonna be out here living my life, knowing I got somebody to come home to who gonna treat me right, even though I'm not treating them right. So that's what I was doing. I wasn't setting boundaries, man. I would stay up all late on the phone and shit, knowing I gotta be to work at let's say 8 a.m. and I stay on the phone with you till 5 in the morning or 3 in the morning, some shit like that. So I wasn't setting boundaries. I would just allow certain things, even though I knew in my soul that irked my nerves bad. And it was something that I didn't like, but I always kind of felt like in order for somebody else to get to like me, that I had to change myself. Characteristics of codependent people, often have a time with letting go of people. And I did that because I didn't want to feel alone. So I didn't set any boundaries because I didn't want to, rock the boat or shake the table a little bit. And I wanted people around me, even though they were people that truly didn't love me or didn't have respect for me. And I know like when I have, it's more like when I used, it still comes up. I know sometimes I can like feel anxious when I don't like hear from somebody in the time frame that I think I should hear back from them. People got their own lives, y'all. People have their own lives and we are not entitled to their time or their energy. We may think we are, but we are not entitled to their time or their energy. Which plays into like my sense, which plays into like a sense of me and my control issues where I feel like I need to control somebody. You know what I mean? Because in order for me to be, feel like I have control over my life, like I need to control everything and everybody, when that's not how I need to have it. Sometimes I just need to chill and let things flow. But like that's been like a big thing for me my whole life. So I'll be doing that sometimes. Like I said, doing things solely for others' attention to make me feel wanted and needed. That's what it is, to make me feel wanted and needed by somebody else, where I have to like do things that aren't me. And I had a dream about this the other day where it's like my team has sent me this, and it was like, stop trying to be somebody that you're not. Stop trying to actively show somebody that you're that girl, basically. If you know you're that girl, be confident in who you are, remain true to yourself, and keep pushing forward. And it's like, I don't want y'all ever to think like, oh, Naya's on here, she's perfect, child, she's perfect. No, I'm not. They had basically just told me, like, just don't try to force yourself onto other people. Basically, you are for some people and some people aren't for you. If the person that you like don't like you back or not showing it in their actions, leave that motherfucker alone, because they gonna keep taking and using that against you. I never have to lower myself, you know what I mean, off of the pedestal that I placed myself on up here to get down to a nigga who's right here. It's crazy. You don't have to do things that aren't you for somebody else. That is codependency. It's like where I'm sacrificing my own emotional needs, especially when it came to my boundaries, my lack of boundaries. I wasn't communicating what I needed from people, what I needed in my romantic relationships, because especially in my romantic relationships, because of the relationship that I have with my father, abandonment won't. So when it came to my romantic relationships, oh my God, I sacrificed so much of myself for the other person to want me, to want to keep me around, which sounds crazy. Like, I just kind of shoved down who I am, what I was about, or I didn't have confidence either. I didn't have any type of confidence in myself when it came to romantic relationships. And I felt like the people that I was connected to, they knew that and they took advantage of that. Or I wouldn't speak up when it came to certain problems that I was having, because I didn't want to rock the boat. You know, I kind of just, like I said, I just shoved everything, all my emotional needs, they just got in the back burner once a person came into my life, which is really not good, because it kind of stems from an abandonment wound from my dad, because he was absent from my life. So I feel like it was weird, because male validation has been at the center of my mind for so long, and it's taken me a while to kind of pop them motherfuckers down to where they need to be, because I should be the center of my own life. And I have really been reprogramming my mind a lot around that. So whenever I would get like into contact with males or anything, not into contact, but girl, in relationships, talking situations, whatever, ever since I was in elementary school, to be honest, I've always placed males at the forefront of my life. When, you know, I like somebody or something, I would just lose all of myself, and I would try to do things for their validation, for their attention. The person who is meant for you will like you in your entirety by just being you. And that's something that, you know, I have a hard time doing, since it's been a constant pattern for me for so long in my life. But it's like, now that I'm able to acknowledge where these wounds stem from, it's a lot easier for me to, you know, peel the layers back and be like, okay, Naya, this is not right. So this comes from that. So I'm not going to shame myself or guilt myself. I'm not going to shame myself more than anything. I'm not going to shame myself for how I'm reacting in this moment, but because I know where it comes from. You know what I mean? And when I say giving too much of myself, I mean giving too much of my time, my energy, my love. My love is very, very, it's strong. It's strong. When I'm for you, I'm for you. When I'm not, I'm not. And that's something that I've had to come into, because it took so long for me to let go of people who I know I should have let go of a long time ago, because I was codependent on them, or they were codependent on me, and I felt guilty in a way. You know what I mean? And sometimes I can stick around with people, or it used to be to the point where I felt like I could fix people. Like when it came to my family, like I just poured, like I said in my other videos, I shoved my beliefs down their throats when I first started doing this whole journey, going on this spiritual journey. I shoved my beliefs down their throats, and I wanted them to change like me, or, you know, do something, but basically change like the way I was and that I felt. And, you know, you can't fix people. That just comes from me overgiving myself way too much. And it also comes like with another characteristic for codependent people. Like I said earlier in the video, I have sometimes a desire to control people and control their actions. Like I told y'all in the beginning, when it came to how this codependency can show up in your life, like if you have low self-esteem, low self-worth, you're most likely codependent on something. And so another one will be saving people from themselves, because I feel needed and I feel like my worth is seen. You know what I mean? So it's like if I see somebody who toxic as fuck, like it's the biggest red flag walking, I'm like, yep. And it's so toxic on both ends, because that toxic person that you're trying to save, he, she, whatever, that's the one that's taken from you. That toxic person that you're trying to save, they're taking from you, and you draining yourself. And you are draining yourself. And I had this like one person who, I'm like, okay, I can stick it out with him. I can do all of this. All I got to do is just keep showing up, keep giving unconditional love, keep being understanding. So I had that one person who would just continuously just take and take and take and take and take from me. And that motherfucker got cocky as hell with my own energy, like all that shit he was fucking taking from me, and he glowing up and blessing them. Meanwhile, I'm over here crying myself to sleep, fighting demons for real, because I'm finding out all the shit that's happening in his life. So, but the whole time I'm staying down, I'm being a ride or die, whatever comes, what happens, I'm there. No, but I've had to like sit back and be like, okay, what do you do for me? Pros and cons. The cons is piling up right here. The pros is steady right here. You can't even see, but yeah. So another one will be trouble being alone. Like I said, which stems from an abandonment womb. I feel like from both my mom and my dad as well, because my mom was very emotionally absent, financially present, but emotionally absent. My dad was physically absent, and sometimes financially there. But yeah, so emotionally, I just felt neglected by everything and everybody. So when I get people that I feel like, or the people that I like, I just tend to cling on to them, even though we may have outgrown each other. And it's like, it's to a point now where I know in my spirit when somebody is not for me anymore. Like I just feel it in my soul, and I steady cling on and cling on and cling on. And it's like my spirit team literally has to like slap me in the fucking head multiple times to be like, Naya, let go of this motherfucker. They ain't doing shit for you. Or I get put in karmic ass situations, or I take on other people's karma because I ain't even supposed to be around them in the first place. So it's like they gotta fucking hit me over and over and over again until I finally get the lesson. And it's like sometimes it's okay to be alone. Like I like being alone now. It used to be very, very hard for me, like to just, people say self-love this, self-love that. It got to a point where I'm like, man, fuck all that shit. Like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? But like, I love my space. I love being by myself. I love being in my own energy. It's very nice and it's very comforting. It's very comforting now. It's like I had to go through so much shit to where I wasn't alone in a way, but the people that I was around, I wasn't gaining anything. The only thing that I was gaining by being around people who I knew I was been supposed to let go of was stress, more delays in my life for shit that was supposed to come in but kept getting delayed because I had all these motherfuckers who wanted a seat at the table who wasn't supposed to be at my table. The next one is people pleasing, which kind of goes back to me not setting boundaries, not expressing myself, whatever, because it stems from like mommy wounds, and it's like a lack of self-confidence, and me not loving myself, and also inner child trauma, because whenever I would like speak up or say things to my mom or something, I always felt like rejected and misunderstood, or her reactions would be so fucking harsh that to the point where it just made me silence my voice. So which kind of led to me growing up in my life where I felt like I had to people please, and I had to just silence my mouth, silence everything, basically silence who I was to appease other people. And that's how codependency fucked with me like that. Man, it's like, it's so many fucking wounds, the anxious attachment styles, the fearful avoidance attachment styles, the codependency, the inner child trauma, all of this shit just flows together. Man, it really does. Like, we all really fucked up for real. So the last two that I have down for me when it comes to my relationships, friendships, romantic, whatever, is changing who you are for somebody else because that's what you think they like, and of lack of identity without your person. And I feel like when you change yourself for other people, you are putting your emotional needs on the back burner. You're not being true to yourself, so you're never gonna feel fully loved, fully seen, fully understood by somebody that you are in a relationship with, whether it be platonic or romantic. If you're not yourself, you already putting yourself at a disadvantage right there. And my last one, a lack of identity without them. Like, I know for me, whenever I got into a connection with somebody, like, and if I really liked them for real, oh my God, they would stay on my mind all the time. Like, they would stay on my mind. And, like, I would think about, you know, what would he like about this? You know, if I wore this, what would he say? Okay, I gotta be like this just to impress him. No, I don't. I don't have to do that. Get you some fucking hobbies. and don't put a man or a woman at the forefront of your mind. It's okay to have a crush, but don't lose yourself in that. And that's what I was doing. I didn't think that I was enough by myself. Like, that's why I had a hard time staying alone a lot, because I didn't want to fucking be alone. And when it comes to like codependency and friendships and everything, you know, I've kind of had problems with friends in my past who would just kind of dump on me in a way, because it didn't happen as often, but you know, I would notice that people will only come to me for advice or for this or whatever because of my spirituality, because of my wisdom, I guess, because they see like, okay, I practice what I preach, I get down, I don't play, so let me go to her. But when it comes to that, it's just like every single time, and you're not even asking me about me, you're not offering no advice for me, you can't give what I'm giving to you, you can't give that shit to me. So it became that where I had to set boundaries, cut the motherfuckers off, or just really distance myself from people, because people can take and take and take, especially if you are a healer and you putting and you doing what you need to do. People have a tendency to take advantage of you, so always protect your energy at all costs. So when it comes to my mother being codependent, or me and my mom being codependent on each other, because I have codependent traits in myself that I kind of put on to other people as well. I was financially codependent on my mother for a long time, because ever since I was a child, that's what she has shown me, that's all that she could provide for me was financially. She could only be the financial provider. Like, she couldn't be an emotional caretaker or the nurturing mother that we all want or need. And I was so dependent on her because I thought all I had was her. And I thought that I couldn't really do for myself or be with myself or be able to support myself financially. And I kept myself stuck for so long. I kept myself stuck for so long by living with her, because I thought I wasn't able to make that move yet, because I just felt like I said, I was just codependent on her for that sense of security, but it was a false sense of security, you know what I mean? I stopped feeling safe in that house. Like, the only safe space that that I had was my room. And it was so funny because I could have moved months ago. Like, I could have moved out months ago. But like I told you, I just kept myself stuck because I didn't think I was ready. And in a way, I wasn't ready if I was thinking like that, you know what I mean? And, you know, when it came to me, my mom's relationship, you know, she would kick me out every 2 business day, child. She would kept kicking me out every other month, or threatening to kick me out every other month. And I kept going back to living with her every single time because of the amenities that her house provided, because like I felt like it was the most luxurious or anything. and I felt like I could do more there, but it just kept me in a toxic cycle. So some more things that I experienced when it came to my mom, is that I was, my mom refuses to listen to me. She plays helpless, or she can play the victim a lot. When she does that and everything, she tells me how she's feeling. She tells me that everything that she's going through or what's going on in her mind, her emotions, it's like, okay, I take a step back and I'm able to recognize her. I'm able to recognize, what happened in her past. I don't really know like her childhood in depth, but through conversations with my dad, with my grandmother, or things like that, I'm able to understand, okay, this is where she gets it from. Or I see how her relationship is with her mom, how her relationship is with her siblings and everything. I see how this plays in a role in her parenting. I see how she can feel like this. I see everything that she's going through and how that plays a role in her emotions. But when it comes to me, when it's my time to express everything that I'm feeling, it's like, oh no, Naya, you are not human. You are not allowed to feel like this. And it's like, it puts you at a disadvantage because now you're putting your own emotional needs on the back burner for them, and you're not the fucking parent. So, and I say some other things is exerting extreme control over my life, using manipulation to get her way, and living vicariously through me, and boundary confusion. So I'm gonna go through each one of these. So when I say exerting extreme control over my life, like, asking where I'm at, asking, who I'm with, what I'm doing, which I understand parents, parents want to know, like, it's just a parental thing, wanting to know that your child is safe. But me being 20 years old and me having to check in at 9 o'clock, come on. Living vicariously through me. So I know that when I left college, that was a huge thing for our relationship. Man, she didn't call me, like, she didn't tell me I ain't doing shit with my life. She came in my room one time, literally yelled at me, talking about, you ain't doing shit with your life. You dropped out of school. You had a full ride. You did this. You did that. I set you and your sisters up for perfection, for all of this stuff. First of all, it's like, no, hun, I did all of that work. I got the grades. I put my head in the books, and I did all of that to appease her. I did all of that because I felt like I had to set myself up to meet her standards. And I felt like when I dropped out of school, like she felt like that was a personal attack against her and her parenting. And I felt like because she wasn't able to go to school, she wasn't able to live the life that she had envisioned for her, me going to school and having a full ride and getting this degree and everything, that was supposed to be like, I'm supposed to be her trophy kid, like, in a way. Because one of my other sisters, she graduated, she went to college on a full ride too, and she has become her trophy child in a way. And it's like, me and my sisters, we all see that, we all have said that multiple times. But yeah, like, she lives vicariously through us in a way. So when I left out of college, it's like, oh my gosh, she's like, I had this life envisioned for you in my mind, not the life that you want for yourself, not the path that you're going down. I had this certain path set out for you, for me. Does that make sense? And the last one for me that I have written down is boundary confusion, which means expecting your child to constantly share plans, feelings, and experiences. So there was this one time when my mother had busted in my room on a rant to just tell me how shitty I am. So she had came in my room and she told me that my boundaries are no longer valid in her house, and she wanted to know what I was doing next, the next steps that I was taking, and if I don't have anything prepared to say to her within a week, I have to move out. So that's what I was dealing with. With my mom, and it's making me want to cry right now because, bro, like, this is traumatic as fuck. Like, having to deal with somebody who expects the world from you and who really doesn't see you. Like, why are you putting all these expectations, all of these feelings on me that aren't mine? Like, you have your own life, and it's like, it's kind of your fault for how it went or how it's going. I'm going to put in a picture of how codependency can happen in your parent and your adult relationships. Because of all of the things that have happened when it comes to the codependency in my own life that happened at a young age, it kind of forced me, it set me up in a way to have these problems, like this low self-esteem, this not being able to be alone, people pleasing, controlling everything. Because my mother controlled me my whole life, I want to control everything that's happened in my life. Because my mom would always have these intense reactions when I would speak up for myself when I was younger. I now people please, or I used to people please. Because my dad abandoned me when I was younger, I sought out male validation. I placed myself on the back burner for males. So all in all, what I want to say, codependency it runs deep. I feel like when you are able to really address it and see where it comes from, you're going to be able to grow a lot more. And I know for me, one thing, it's kind of funny what I do, because it's like I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, okay, Naya, I'm being codependent right now. I need to fucking relax and pull it back. It's like this metaphor pops up into my mind. It's like, codependent no more, codependent no more. And whenever I'm like going through something where I see myself doing too much or going back to what I've already learned from, that shit pops up in my mind, like with a lady holding a stand, just walking down, just shouting that. It's the weirdest thing, but it helps me a lot. So some healthy characteristics for a very healthy relationship when it comes with your parents, or even a relationship, platonic and romantic, is safety. So I kind of got this from the parent one, but you can also apply this to the relationships and platonic. Just swap out some of the words. And I want to go back to some of these to talk about more experiences with my mother and everything, and my dad as well. So safety. In my mother's house, sometimes she would take away vital things that I need to survive, like taking the eyes off of the stove, and I couldn't cook or anything because I didn't clean the stove how she wanted me to clean it, or I kept letting it get dirty. She would just take that away for weeks, months, whatever, and I would have to figure out a way to cook, or either ordering out or going somewhere to cook, or having to beg and just be fucking pitiful. So she would take away my basic needs like that. When it comes to unconditional love, I told y'all in my life update video that I felt like she didn't love me unconditionally because of the path that I chose to take in my life. Because I decided to drop out of college, I felt like her love was unconditional because of her actions afterwards. And I'll never forget, there was this one moment I told her, and I was trying to hide it for so long. I told her that I dropped out finally, and she was like, okay, you got to pay your own phone bill now, which I didn't have a problem with. It was the way that she expressed that. It was like, because you are making this choice in your life, now I'm going to take away this privilege that I was providing you, because you're not following the path that I wanted for you, that I wanted you to follow. Now I'm taking this away from you. So it's kind of like forcing you to either nut up and go back to school or pay your own bills now, and it's like, I understand that I had to get cut off at some point, but it's like, you can just talk to me and tell me that. It didn't feel like it was from a place of her trying to get me to adult. It came from a place of her trying to control me, which goes back to what I was saying, using manipulation tactics like that. And such subconscious deep shit that's kind of, I don't even think she understands what she does half of the time, and how that can seriously hurt somebody. And that goes for all parents, because they didn't grow up with that understanding and that nurturing, that care that they deserve. So now we gotta suffer and pay the consequences. But when we choose to acknowledge everything, we work through our hurt, we work through everything, and they still staying like that, oh baby, you gotta go. It's that simple. And I'll say mutual respect. Yeah, girl, we lost that. We lost that in open communication. We ain't had none of that. Like I said, my mama, she didn't want to listen to shit I had to say. It was always an argument or whatever. But I will say with my dad, always with my dad, it was more of a more gentler touch with him. He would always, our communication is, I would say, it's very respectful, and I really appreciate him for that, because whenever we do communicate, whenever we do talk, it's like, he ain't perfect, I ain't perfect, but we actually listen to understand each other, and not listen to respond to each other. And that's something that I don't have with my mom, but I do have with my dad. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, y'all, like the links and the articles are down below. I'm gonna put in some journal prompts to help y'all get through this. And I just want to say, like, codependency, this shit, it runs deep. I feel like everybody is codependent in a way to something of some sort. So, don't get discouraged and everything when you notice these signs in yourself or traits in yourself, because it's very much normal. We all have them. We all working through them. And I know for me, like, when I found out that I'm like what codependency was, I was like, damn, I do all of that. I do all of that shit. Like, fuck. And it just forced me to cry and forced me to address everything. And it's like, look where I'm at now. Like, now I know not to fucking rush in relationships, not to overgive myself, not to sacrifice my needs for somebody else, learning how to set boundaries and stand on them motherfuckers. Always choosing myself and always making sure I'm my top priority. It's okay for me to love people, and I love people hard when I do. And if I'm down for you, I'm down for you. But if you showing me that you don't deserve to be in my life, you gotta go. It's that simple. I refuse to sacrifice myself. I didn't stay in cycles for so long, y'all. 2-year cycles, 2, 3, 4-year cycles with motherfuckers who should have been long gone. And I wasn't even choosing myself. I wasn't choosing to wake up to what I was doing to sabotage myself. But codependency, she's a bitch. She's a bitch. But once you acknowledge her, you're able to control her. And move forward from it. Of course, I still have like I told y'all, the codependent traits pop up. Everything that I teach y'all about, it's not just a one and done type situation. These situations are going to continue to pop back up in your life, and you're going to have to continue to keep working through them for the rest of your life. That's what God sent us down here on this earth for. Crazy, right? But for real. So don't be discouraged. Y'all can do this. If I can get to this point, when I used to be somebody who lacked a lot of self-confidence, who lacked a lot of self-worth and self-esteem, who had low self-esteem, and if I'm here now, I done made so many changes in my life, and I feel like if you know how I was back then, you see me now, you can feel the difference. I feel the difference. Shit, I didn't think I would ever get to this point, but like with hard work, a lot of fucking tears, a lot of cussing out everybody, and a lot of being by myself, now I'm here. All right, y'all, so that's pretty much all I got. And if I forget something, as always, I'm gonna just pop in the picture so I can tell y'all what it is, or leave it in the comments or description box. Fuck these words, bruh. So yeah, y'all, that's it, y'all. Chucking up the motherfucking deuces. All right, follow me on IG and TikTok. All right, bye.